Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Dr. Vijay Bhatia. I'm a psychiatrist and today I'm going to talk about disorders of thinking. What is thought? What do we mean by thought? Thought is the process of using your mind to consider something. It can also be the product of that process, an idea or just a concept or just the thing you are thinking about. Thought can also refer to the organized beliefs of a period, individual, or a group. It is a concept. Thought disorders. We are going to talk about thought disorders in terms of four types. First is there is inability to form abstract concepts. So if I ask someone to bring something or say something, they don't get the real meaning, but they get the concrete thinking. Normal example can be if we ask them a proverb, still waters run deep, and they will simply not think in the abstract concepts, but they will simply say, oh, still water is quite deep or whatever, and they can't think that it can be dangerous, that if you step into that you can fall even if it looks like very still. So that can be a problem in literally everything. If you ask them to do something, they will have a very concrete thinking and they will mean, what do you mean by that? And the other defect can be inability to form clear boundaries between concepts. Remember, these concepts, they are in our brain. They've been developed from whatever observations we have done, seen things, meet people, events or something, and they are sitting there and they have certain boundaries and they are connected with each other, and when they flow in a very orderly manner. And the boundaries between them can be lost, and we are going to talk more about this. Or concepts can be too broad. If we ask, where have you been, and the person doesn't answer where they have been, but they keep on saying surrounding things. Oh, I met this person, went on this road or something, but they don't tell you exactly, I went to the shop to bring the milk or something. So they keep on extending and broadening the concept. And there can be inconsistencies in the concept. So concept should be it should be consistent. They should answer the same thing, that I met this person and have this discussion on this. But next time if you ask, they might be thinking on something different. So inconsistencies in the concepts, these are thought disorders in general. How do they interact, thoughts, memories, and emotions? Remember how we mentioned from the perceptions or from previous memories, or even the thoughts previous, and concepts and ideas, assumptions, images, imaginations, fantasy, we met people, a certain family and others, events, my own birthdays and other people's birthdays or events, went to the football and visit the places. All these things are present in our memory, and these are very much attached with certain emotions. Like my birthday party was quite emotional to me because all my friends were there and they are sitting in the memory, and these can be triggered by anything. And once they are triggered with say, let's say, any even somebody talking about them, or I've seen an old picture or something, they will trigger the memory, and they can also trigger the emotions attached with that. And if these emotions are sometimes bad or sad or something fearful, then they can cause the emotional reaction and ask the person to take some action from it and run away from those things. So that's how the thoughts, emotions, and actions interact. And if the thought is disordered in the first place, they might be thinking something which is not even true, like false thoughts. And these false thoughts can be delusions. We will talk about more. So these false thoughts can arise, and these can be again interacting with emotions and ultimately causing the person to think about it and either run away from it or fight with it or freeze. So these thoughts do have effect on the person. Let's think about a thought as a stream, as a river. What happens is we in the river there is a certain amount of water, and that can if another part joins it or leaves it, so the amount will be less or more depending on what is happening. So there is amount of thought, so there is amount of concept in our brain and amount of thoughts in our brain. And if this amount and this speed, let's say there's another steep curve here or something, and it falls very quickly, so there will be a lot of water falling very quickly, and if we get lots of thoughts and they are coming to us very quickly, there will be a rush. So there will be a pressure of thought, and this happens typically in mania. But on the other hand, if the thoughts are very less and they're flowing very, very slowly, in fact, sometimes the thoughts are so less that literally you can't even think of any thought. And that can happen in depression. We call that poverty of thought. Another thing is sometimes there can be a sudden stoppage. There is a big boulder here that stops the water coming down, and that can be interrupted quite suddenly. That can be called if the thoughts are flowing to you and suddenly you feel that, oh, this thought has been taken away, or this thought has been blocked, and you don't know what you were talking about and what you want to continue to talk about. So that will be interruption of the thought process suddenly, and the mind going blank, and that is called thought block. Or you can simply say, oh, my thoughts were taken away by the machine, somebody else, they know telepathy or through radio waves, they have taken away my thoughts. So you can give any explanation to stop this flow of thought. Now the other way is all these thoughts, water molecules or thoughts, in the flow of the thought, they are very much linked with each other. Some of them, if blocked by hair, and some keeps on flowing, some keep on losing, but they have some connection with each other to control the stream of flow of thoughts, and that can be lost. So disorder of the form of thought. When we say form of the thought, like in the river, it was flowing and it was flowing smoothly, but there can be different interruptions in those. And the things we are going to talk about is number one is flight of ideas, number two perseverance and loosening of associations. So as we mentioned earlier, thought have certain content, they have certain amount, they have a certain boundary, can be small or big, and there is a flow of these ones. Sometimes distraction happens, new thoughts are lost because of this, and sometimes there are addition of more thoughts, and thoughts get even bigger and faster and quicker, and that can be cause of problems. Number one, flight of ideas. Thoughts and conversations move quickly from one topic to the another, so one train of thought is not completed before another appears. These rapidly changing topics are understandable because the links between them are normal, a point that differentiates them from loosening of association, which I'm going to talk about in the next slides. In practice, the distinction is often difficult to make. When we talk about associations between them, one type of association or linking words, it can be clang association. If the words are ending with similar sounds, and the person starts another sentence with a similar sound. That is called clang association. They can be punning when they have a similar meaning, or they can be rhyming like in poetry, or sometimes they get distracted from distracting cues nearby in the surrounding area. Flight of idea are typical of mania. Perseveration. What happens in this is the persistent and inappropriate repetition of the same thought. The disorder is detected by examining the patient's words or actions. Thus, in response to a series of simple questions, the person may give the correct answer to the first, but continues to give the same answer inappropriately to subsequent questions. This happens in dementia. I remember seeing a patient with dementia, asking him how he is feeling, and he said yes, and then he continued to answer yes to other questions. What is your name? Yes. How are you feeling? Yes. Is everything all right? Yes. Loosening of association denotes a loss of the normal structure of thinking, appears as muddled and illogical conversation that cannot be verified by further inquiry. So they appear muddled, or at least to you, and they appear illogical, and you try to verify that, but you can't because they have loosening of associations. One type of loosening of association is called Knight's move or derailment. Normally, the train of thought should be clear, but what happens in this one, the person is supposed to go like that, but they have taken another line of thought and they go on a different route. So this route is abandoned. So that is called derailment, and it is called Knight's move, as in chess the horse plays on the right angles. Refers to a transition from one topic to another, either between sentences or mid-sentence, with no logical relationship between the two topics and no evidence of the forms of association as we described in the flight of ideas, like clang associations, rhyming, punning. There is no such association linked with that. If the loosening of association is quite bad, the person keeps on derailing all the time, so you will get some kind of word salad. That means there is no connections between the topics. There is a term called verbigeration, refers to a kind of stereotypy in which sounds, words, or phrases are repeated in a senseless way. Talking past the point, patient seems always to get near to the matter in hand, but never quite reaches it. Widening of concepts. Remember when we talked about the concept and they have a boundary, and if that boundary is lost, the person can keep on going in circumstances or circumstantiality, or expanding that the concept is just being widened from one to the other. The grouping together of things are not normally regarded as closely connected with one another. In the next video, we will talk about particular kinds of abnormal thoughts like delusions, obsessional thoughts, and overvalued ideas, and different themes on the delusions. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe the channel and press the like button and share with your other friends. See you again.